in the bath, I'm pressure testing a 200 TDI cylinder head. I tested it warm and I've tested it cold, and there are no leaks coming out of this head at all. The strangest thing about it is, when it was pressure tested once before at a shop, they marked here and here 2 yellow X's to say that the valve, the head was cracked. But obviously, as you can see, there's no cracks, and that's on 130 psi. If you want to prove it, I'll shut off the handle. We'll open the valve. Because it's just like testing a bicycle tyre, you know, you put it in water and see if there's any bubbles. There's nothing. So why did they do that? That's strange, isn't it? I can't make that out. I'll tell you what I'll do for you guys, I'll do this experiment again, but with hot water, because we've got 50 degrees coming out of the tap, 50, 60 degrees, and we'll warm this head up, preheat it, and test it again, just to make sure that there's no cracks. Alright? So this has been soaking for about 10-15 minutes, and it's quite warm to the touch. You know, it's quite nice, you know. You could have a bath in it if you wanted. Anyway, there are no leaks, there's no bubbles, there's nothing. And the gauge is flat out. And there's nothing at all, because otherwise we'd see bubbles coming up all over the place, and we aren't seeing anything. So I'm kind of convinced that that head is good. What is causing me some cause for concern is, why did they say that it was leaking out of those ports there? Damn, you can never tell, can you, with people? You just don't know what to trust. And they were a proper garage, you know, like a proper workshop. Oh, it's cracked, you need a new head. But it wasn't. It's a good job I made this piece of kit, isn't it? Anyway, that said, what I'll do now is I'll take it out of the bath, we'll strip off the plate, and we'll see how we can resurrect this later, see if we can get these valves out, and we'll also inspect it for if it's been skimmed. Well, we don't know if it's been skimmed before, but we've got nothing to lose. But we can always cut the valves back a little bit into the head, and I'll explain that to you later. But as for a crack test, I don't think you could do a better test. I mean, normally people test these at £90 or £100. Well, we've got 130 going through there, and there's nothing at all. You know, turn that off and disconnect that, and I think that's quite a conclusive test. Right, let me take this out, strip this plate down, and I might even go for breakfast. How's that? I'm starving. Once the head's out of the bath and the plate's been stripped off, we can now have another inspection to see if there's any cracks in the head. Well, obviously there's no cracks letting water out, because it would be bubbling away either hot or cold. That's a good thing. But what is a bad thing, on the 200 TDIs, there were slight hairline cracks between the valves here and here. Not on here and here, because this is the back of the engine. The back of the engine always seems to run hotter than the front because of the way the water circulates. Now, can we get away with it? That's the problem. Can we safely say that that crack is not a problem? Well, if it wasn't bubbling and things like this, I think it might be alright. It might be just a surface crack. So are we going to waste our time on this head? Well, we've got nothing else to do. I don't know. I mean, it won't cause the valves to drop out or anything like that. But it is quite common on some cars for them to crack in, and I think the 300 TDI is a little bit wider. But I'll tell you what, now's a good time to do a comparison check and see what the difference is. Instantly, you can see on this 300 TDI head, they've spaced the valves further apart, so there's a bit more meat between the valves here. So they obviously knew that was a problem. But if you look at the actual pattern, apart from where the oil hole goes here, all the rest of it's absolutely identical. All they've done is move the valves further apart. But the thing is, if they've moved the valves further apart, how come they're not right on the edge of the gasket? Strange that, isn't it? I think the valves are the same sort. So, now they've done that, I think they are just slightly further apart. But there is a distinct difference here between the two, and there's no cracks in these at all. So they've got rid of one problem but caused another. So let's flip them over and have a look at the differences. Now, at first sight you probably won't be able to see anything, but the 300 TDI is distinctly taller than this one. They've raised the rocker box up a little bit, probably to stop it leaking oil. That never happened. But generally speaking, it's the same sort of shape, if you see what I mean. The biggest problem is, well, not the biggest problem, but the rocker shaft is completely different. In the 300 TDI to the 200 TDI, you can see that straight away. But what the most important thing is the injection system's different. Now you can look on this one here, everything's in line with that bolt hole, so there's your pin, there's your hold down clamp, and that's your injector, and there's your glow plug. But look on the 200 TDI, different injectors in them, they were bigger, and you can see they're all off at an angle. You see that? The glow plugs have remained the same, so what they've done is they've changed the injection system, and that's one thing. But the next thing to look at is the ports. Oop. Now are the ports the same? They look to be the same. I know on the 2.5s they were different. I'll tell you what, let me go and see if I can find a manifold gasket, and then we can confirm it. This is a Victor Reinz manifold gasket. All holes line up perfectly, same size. Transfer that over to a 200 TDI and it is the same. No difference there. So, could you put a 300 TDI head in place of a 200 TDI head? Well, I don't think so. Why? I don't know. Remember when I said about the injectors being different and things like that? The capacity will still be the same. They've just put moderner injectors in. But the problem is the pipes and the threads on the end of the pipes are going to be completely different. Now I'm sure some clever chap out there will be able to make some pipes up. But remember, all injector pipes have to be tuned the same length. You can't have them a couple of inches longer than the other ones. They all have to be the same length, and that's the reason why they're all bent round in funny shapes. It's not just to move them out of the way of things, it's just trying to make them the same, because obviously if you inject your pumps at the front and you need a long pipe to go to the back here, then the front one's got to be the same, so they curl it all up and put it down here. So would it fit? Well, it will fit, but by gum, you're going to have a lot of messing about. You're going to have an awful lot of messing about, because like I say, I'm almost sure the 300 TDI injectors are different. Well, they are different, but are they a different thread? Well, let's go and have a look at them. This is a 200 TDI injector. I've just found out an M12 nut fits on the end of there, or on the end of this one. This is a 300 TDI one, M14. So you're going to have to make some pipes up. And you can see the distinct difference in the sizes. Completely different. The nozzle and things like this, there's not much difference in that apart from the end cap, but you can see how narrow they are down here. That's almost the same. The length's the same, but you couldn't machine one out to fit. Problem, innit? You know. So I don't know what, I don't know really what the answer is. The next thing is, what do I do with this head? It isn't cracked, but there are cracks in it. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll pull it to bits and I'll have a look at it and I'll see what it looks like inside and see if these valves come out, see if the guides are okay. They'll probably all rusted up, but if it's going to be a struggle, then I'll just let it go, you know. This one's the one that's warped very badly. Again, I don't know what to do with that. It's not worth saving really, because the new ones are so good. You know, why mess about with an old one and take a chance? Anyway, let me have a break and we'll come back and we'll see if we can get those valves out.